Welcome in, friends, to Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and thank you so much for making us a part of your day, and thank you for joining us for our Week 5 NFL Confidence Picks. We really appreciate you guys joining us on this journey. We're having a lot of fun here on the network, putting the podcast up, each and every one of you joining us on Facebook Live or on YouTube to actually watch us do the picks on CBS Sports. So why don't we kick it and get ready, because Thursday Night Football is just a few hours away, and we're about to see the Rams versus the Seahawks in an awesome NFC West matchup, and we can start with that game right here on the list. And this one should be interesting. The Rams coming off a loss to Tampa Bay. I was just thinking about this earlier on today when I was kind of producing and editing some shows here on the network. Seattle's the type of team that can honestly win the entire NFC. If nothing else but by accident. If they find a way to win this division and host every single playoff game heading into the Super Bowl, Seattle can make a run. I'm not saying they're the best team in the NFC, not by any stretch, but they have a weird sense to them where it's like Russell Wilson can win them almost any game. They have a running attack, theoretically, with Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, and Russell Wilson. Wilson makes wide receiver stars out of anybody, and Tyler Lockett is an actual star at that position. So I think if the Rams teeter off just a little bit, especially with the hangover of losing in the Super Bowl, and we see that all the time, I think Seattle has a legit shot. So is this a bounce-back game, though? Coming off the loss to Tampa Bay, and now you have to travel to Seattle on a Thursday. I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this game because Jared Goff splits, if you look at his numbers, does not ball well at away stadiums when he's away from Los Angeles. So I'll go with Seattle in this one. Patriots take on Washington. Poor Haskins. They had him out there, their rookie quarterback, after after Casey Keenum went down. But New England has to win this game. New England will lose a game somewhere. The Patriots will not go 16-0. They'll probably go 13-3, 4-2. So it depends. Eventually, they're going to have to lose a game. I think it's going to be a division matchup away later on into the year, but it's definitely not going to be to Washington. So I'll go with New England in this matchup. Tampa Bay against New Orleans. New Orleans has been balling out. Teddy Bridgewater has kept them afloat. They beat Dallas, and they've won in Seattle. So I think this is an interesting one because if they can stay afloat without Drew Brees, get him back by the end of the season. You know, you heard me say about Seattle having my dark horse of making a run in the NFC. New Orleans will be the favorite if they get Drew Brees back by maybe, let's say, November, early November, mid-November. I mean, hell, New Orleans can run the whole damn thing. So I'm going to go with New Orleans, though, in this match. I think Tampa Bay is going to be one of those teams where they're going to have moments where they're going to ball out, put up 35, 40 points, and there's going to be games where they put up 16 and get shut out. So hopefully not too much because I have Mike Evans and I could really use him, but I definitely think New Orleans comes out with the matchup of this one. How about Minnesota take on the Giants? Minnesota needs a win, especially after losing to Chase Daniel and the Chicago Bears. So we'll get into all that in just a little bit for all you Bears fans. But Minnesota needs this win, and we're hearing all these reports now about Diggs having problems with the front office and the offense. We heard Adam Thielen have some interesting words about they got to get the ball down the field. Kirk Cousins even acknowledged it. So I think Minnesota wins this game. Dalvin Cook is one of the top 10, probably even easier, maybe top 5 running backs in the league right now, especially for all you fantasy lovers out there. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in an away game in New York. But it's definitely up in the air. Like, I don't think it's a guarantee that they're going to go over there and beat Daniel Jones. I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be playing in this game, but if we find out tomorrow morning, which is Friday, that Barkley's playing, I mean, it's not a guarantee. They're getting Golden Tate back. They got Sterling Shepard. The Giants can surprise somebody at home, but I go with Minnesota in this game. All right, how about this one? This is one near and dear to the heart. We're here, obviously, in Chicago, where Mercado Airwaves is located. The Chicago Bears take on the Oakland Raiders in London. All this craziness about Roquan Smith, why he didn't play. It was so unlike Matt Nagy, and not so much as Bears front office, because in Chicago, we've been spoiled with, let's say, Theo Epstein, especially if you're a Cub fan, where there's a lot of transparency and you get a lot of information, whether it's true or not, you get a lot of information from the front office. They were being so coy about this, and they were being so mysterious for no reason. If Roquan Smith didn't do anything that had to do with law enforcement or law, then you should tell him that. Don't disparage his name by keeping it rumor and innuendo. That's more damaging than just telling us the truth, especially in the National Football League where we know nobody cares about criminals. So if you're going that direction, right, and you're telling us that, it's not that, that's on you. And if I'm Roquan Smith, I'm pissed off at them because I have done nothing for anybody to disparage my name. And you're allowing that to happen. But it seems like he will play on Sunday, which is wonderful because Roquan is an awesome player. I have never heard anything bad about Roquan Smith. So I think it's kind of a shame that the Bears front office let that happen. But with that being said, if he plays and if he balls out, then it really doesn't matter. Hopefully everything is on the up and up. But, social media was going crazy. They had a picture of a Ferrari or Lamborghini that was all messed up, and they said it was because he was in a DUI. You can't have people making up those rumors, especially about a young stud that's going to be part of your organization for a long time. So that's just one story that happened here. Obviously, the other big one is Mitchell Trubisky going down with the hurt shoulder, non-throwing shoulder. They're saying he will be back sooner rather than later. And Chase Daniel will be the quarterback now. They do have the bye week coming up next week. This is an interesting scenario because you're hearing everybody, especially because of Mitchell Trubisky, him being drafted at number 2, and the quarterback position being what it is now, especially with young quarterbacks where they're under contract, their money is manageable, and this is when you're able to win a Super Bowl, the easiest at the very least. And how Patrick Mahomes is balling out, what Deshaun Watson is doing since he's got announced to Houston. This is a rare scenario where maybe Chase Daniel does run the offense better. But you are not better with Chase Daniel. Mitchell Trubisky is the better quarterback. Athletically, with all the intangibles, that goes to Mitchell Trubisky. But what you also have, the elephant in the room, is the offense does look better with Chase Daniel. But if you can't do the run-pass option, if you can't do the RPO, you're not going to be able to do anything in this league because they'll figure you out. So I think that's the interesting thing. And I want Bears fans to remember this. Chase Daniel looked good the first game he had last season. And then, Butterfingers had a big-time problem against the Giants when there's always film. See, people don't ever give credit to these names you don't see that aren't Bill Belichick or Sean McVay or John Gruden or whatever, These coaches are really smart. And if they get a little bit of film on you, they're going to figure you out. There's a reason why he's a journeyman backup quarterback, because he helps you get through emergencies. He helps you stay afloat, but you will not win long-term with Chase Daniel. You will be in games. He's a professional quarterback. But don't have any weird disillusion of him taking you to a Super Bowl and having this unbelievable Disney-esque movie type of run. You need Mitchell Trubisky to be good enough, and you need him to be part of this team with that defense to make a serious Super Bowl run. With all that being said, the Chicago Bears go to London and beat the Oakland Raiders. Khalil Mack going to get some revenge on his former team and what should be a really good showcase for the Chicago Bears, but we'll see, in the National Football League, especially heading into a different country, let alone, a different state, it'll get you. How about the Jets against the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm not too sure about the status of Sam Darnold, if he's playing or not, but I'm going to go with Philadelphia in this game. Philadelphia is one of the hardest teams to figure out in the NFL. They have all the talent in the world, but I can't tell you if they're going to put it all together. They're hurt. They get hurt. The attrition part is really hurting this team, and you've seen it with Nelson Aguilar is a great number 3, but when he has to be your number 1, you're going to have some issues. They have a running back who's going off every other week. So we'll see if they could settle down, put everything into ease, and really win this division. Because other than Dallas, this is an easy division. It looks like the NFC North might be the one that has the most playoff teams in the NFC. But if you're the Eagles, you need to do everything you can to make sure that you're part of that wild card weekend. Because they have the talent to make a legitimate run at a Super Bowl. I know I've said that a lot about 2 teams in the NFC, but there's a lot of talent on Philadelphia. And if they get right and healthy, they can make a run. How about the Jaguars against Carolina? Ooh, Minshew versus Allen, huh? I guess for this one, this is tough because Leonard Fournette went off last week. Christian McCaffrey is a man-child. two quarterbacks that eventually the bottom has to fall off, right? Neither team has great wide receivers, but have young wide receivers. Defenses are, I would say Jacksonville probably has the better of the two defenses. And since they're going to Carolina, I'm going to go with Jacksonville in this game. I hope Christian McCaffrey goes off against another one of my riders on my fantasy team, but I think Jacksonville going into Carolina, that's an interesting game, and Jacksonville would be sticking around that division still. How about the Cardinals taking on Cincinnati? Cincinnati might be one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. They made Pittsburgh look like world beaters last week. They had ESPN talking like Pittsburgh was going to make a legit run this year without Big Ben Roethlisberger because that's how bad Cincinnati is. But Arizona can make a lot of things look good. John Ross will not be playing for Cincinnati. He's on the IR. I'm going to go Arizona going to Cincinnati and beating the Bengals. How about the Bills after losing to the Patriots, losing Josh Allen against Tennessee? Again, Tennessee is a more frustrating team. They're a lot like Philadelphia, except with less talent, where you want to like them. They have a really nice running game. You want to like Marcus Mariota. You want to like Corey Davis. You like Delaney Walker, but they're never going to put it together. And this is a perfect game where a lot of people are going to pick Tennessee to win, but I think Buffalo, it all depends on if Josh Allen plays or not. And I think with him being in the concussion protocol, I doubt he's going to. I'm going to go with Buffalo in this game. I've gone 3 roadies, but I'll go with Buffalo beating Tennessee in this matchup. Atlanta taking on Houston. Again, this is a tough one. Atlanta doesn't have a defense nor an offensive line, and other than Julio Jones and Matt Ryan, it's tough. Houston's the better team, but Houston, I hate betting on Houston so much because that's one of those teams where personally I can never put my finger on, but I'll go with Houston at home in this matchup. How about the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm going to go with Baltimore in this one. But here's the thing. Lamar Jackson, one of my favorite quarterbacks in this league, a lot of his stats, at least to me, and this is just a novice, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, whatever, but a lot of padded stats. I have in my fantasy team, a lot of padded stats. They make a lot of runs late in games. But the games are usually out of reach already. So I want them to really step on Pittsburgh, put them out of their misery, and end this game early and just beat them down, have a lot of time of possession, have a lot of the plays run through them, and just let Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson just go off on Pittsburgh. That's what I want to see in this matchup. I'll go with Baltimore going into Pittsburgh and winning. Denver looking for their first win against the Chargers. They won't get it, though, because the Chargers will win this one, and I think Melvin Gordon will get a little bit more of the action. Austin Eckler's having an awesome season. Keenan Allen will go off. Williams is going to be out, I think, but some interesting. The Chargers, again, one of my favorites in the AFC. If they could just stay healthy and just not Charger it up like they always do. I like the Chargers a lot. How about Green Bay against Dallas? Dallas finally getting their first loss. This is interesting. At some point, Green Bay will get right? You would think that Aaron Rodgers will figure this all out, but they don't have Devontae Adams. So Geronimo Allison and MVS, they're going to have to really step up a lot. We're going to need to see the same thing from Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, which have been very disappointing. It's not all right there. Even though their record is one thing, it's not all good in Green Bay. Dallas is really showing something. I'm going to go with Dallas in this matchup because it seems like their defense is for real. But you talk about a statement game for this Green Bay organization with Aaron Rodgers, with their new rookie head coach in Matt LaFleur. They can make a statement if they go into Jerry World and in AT&T and beat the Dallas Cowboys. And it would be devastating for the Cowboys for 2 straight big losses. But that is a huge statement. That is circle the calendar, mark that matchup, because that's going to say a lot about both of these teams. So I'm going to go with Dallas in that one, though. How about on Sunday Night Football, the Indianapolis Colts take on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. Play all your Chiefs. Hell, play all your Colts, too, your T.Y. Hiltons and your Marlon Macks, your Jacoby Brissetts. Play all of them because this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be interesting, but Kansas City, I don't think it's going to go undefeated, but this is not a game that they lose, especially at Arrowhead. And I bet you when the matchmakers were sending the subs, they were dying to see Andrew Luck versus Patrick Mahomes, but I think this is still going to have the chance to be a very fun matchup and one of the better games of the Week 5 matchups. And finally, on Monday Night Football, if you haven't gotten enough of the Cleveland Browns, we got a little bit more for you because the Browns take on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. I'm going to go with the Niners because I don't think Cleveland's all that good. And quite frankly, I think there's this weird turn that's happening against Cleveland that I never thought I would see where people dislike the Browns. I always thought when the Browns would be some kind of relevancy that they would be beloved and people would take them under their wing as like their adopted team. But Baker Mayfield, and I think the kid Cabal, rubs people the wrong way. And maybe it's because he talks a lot. And it's funny because we want our athletes to talk a lot, but when they talk of something of substance, we tell them like, just talk about sports. And then when they give us the sports cliche, we're like, they have nothing to say. So I get it. We, especially in the media, we talk out of both sides of our mouth, but it seems like he's nothing much more than a hype speech after hype speech after hype speech, which is great. I want to see Odell Beckham go off, though. That'd be wonderful. It was nice to see Nick Chubb go off. So there's a lot, Jarvis Landry, it'd be cool to see him kind of have a big breakout game. It'd be nice to see this team win because of Baker Mayfield's arm. That's all I'm saying. But they're not going to do it against Richard Sherman. I think Jim Garoppolo is going to go off. For some reason, this offense creates running backs every single time, and they're going to the West Coast. And besides all that, it seems like the Browns have this weird aura around them, and it looks like it's going to be up, take one step forward, one step back, and this will be a step back. I'm going with San Francisco winning this game. And those are my picks for Week 5, but it's now time to put the confidence number on them, and we always start up on the top. And I'm going to go ahead and start off really easy. I haven't done it all season, but I'm going to put New England at number 1, put all my points of New England over Washington. If they lose, that's just the upset of the week. There's nothing you can do about it. And, you can't be mad about Washington beating New England because nobody saw that coming. I think we're going to go with, I'm willing to do it. I'll put 14 points on Chicago over Oakland. I know a lot of people, that seems like kind of a trap game, but I'm willing to make that move. How about we go down a little bit on the list? I'm willing to mess with the Chargers at home too. I'll put them all the way on the top at 13 points. And we'll go over all these all together once I've made them all. Definitely Kansas City. Okay, so you know what? What I might do, I might move the Bears just down a little bit, and I'll put Kansas City with the second most amount of points. I'll move Chicago down 1, and we'll leave that for now. We look around here. Here's the thing, again, and if you're watching us live on YouTube at Mercado Airwaves or on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves, you can see the percentage that CBS puts up of people picking them. And everybody's picking Philadelphia and Houston. My problem is, do you ever feel good about putting Houston really high, putting a lot of confidence points on Houston, or playing a lot of their players, or putting them as your survivor pick? They're a really hard team to have a lot of confidence in, besides just confidence picks. But I can see in this matchup specifically why a lot of people are putting them high, but I'm not willing, I don't think, to put them at 11 points. I think I'm much more willing to put New Orleans, over Tampa Bay. Yeah, with 11 points. More than that. I would do the same then I would put 10 points on Philadelphia, 9 points on Houston. Or you know what? Maybe I'll do 10 points on Houston, 9 points at Philadelphia. And then just kind of going through a little bit. I definitely am only going to put 1 point on Dallas over Green Bay because I have no idea who's going to win that game. I'll be willing to put about 8 points on Baltimore over Pittsburgh. I would put 7 points on Seattle over the Rams. I'll put 6 points on Minnesota over the Giants. 5 on Jacksonville over Carolina. 4 on Arizona over Cincinnati. 3 on San Francisco over Cleveland. 2 on Buffalo over Tennessee. And 1 on Green Bay over Dallas. I actually like that list a lot, so why don't we start up over on the top? I put 15 points on New England beating Washington. I have 14 points on Kansas City beating the Colts. I have 13 points on the Bears beating Oakland. I put 12 points on the Chargers beating the Broncos. I put 11 points on New Orleans beating Tampa Bay. I put 10 points on the Texans over the Falcons. I put 9 points on the Eagles over the Jets. At 8 points, I put Baltimore over Pittsburgh. With 7 points, I put Seattle over the Rams. At 6 points, I picked the Minnesota Vikings over the New York Giants. With 5 points, I picked the Jags over the Panthers. With 4 points, I picked the Cardinals over the Bengals. And with 3 points, San Francisco over Cleveland. 2 with Buffalo over Tennessee. And 1 confidence pick on Dallas over the Green Bay Packers. And those are my Week 5 NFL confidence picks. Thank you all so much for joining us here on Sports from the Couch on Mercado Airwaves. Follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333, on Instagram at MikeMercado2333. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Download, like, rate, review, and share all our podcasts. Wherever you get your favorite podcasts, give us a like, rate, review, and subscription. It really helps us out at Mercado Airwaves. And you can also go to patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home to our interviews, ad-free and before anybody else, with athletes and celebrities. Some really cool people over there that you get, and a lot of different benefits at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Got a bunch of other stuff on, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves, our pop culture show at Good Brothers Pod, and our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder Mysteries and more. Enjoy all the games. Enjoy your sports weekend with the MLB playoffs and NFL and everything in between. And enjoy each other. We'll see you next time here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm Mike Mercado.